Hi, welcome everyone. This is Mateusz Okoń. I warmly welcome you to the Libra Lures channel, where today we will show you our latest lure, which is Gobio. As of today, Gobio is available in one size, which is 7.3 inches or 186 meters, and it weighs 40 grams. Packaging, one piece. As of today, there are 12 colors, which we will show you in just a moment. And as I mentioned, this is solely a lure for vertical fishing. Personally, I usually use two very basic and simple rigs to rig our lures. Hook, and I rig it with a tungsten jig head, 28 grams, along with a hook on thick braided catfish line, so as not to stiffen the lure. But that's only when I use very thin lines, when the weather is bad and the conditions are tough, with large waves and strong winds. I try to lighten the setup by fishing with very thin line, and I managed to go down to 28 grams, and I can effectively present the lure. Another option is what's called a fish spool. There are a lot of manufacturers in our market for jig heads for vertical fishing. Here we have a roach jig head. We just slightly and carefully trim the head of our hooch and fish to perfectly fit it to the body, and then we proceed. We rig it in such a way that I clip it in next to the dorsal fin, a size 1/0 hook. When I'm fishing very close, fish are fickle. They gently nibble at the lure. They lift the lure, meaning they're not too aggressive to hit the whole lure. I switch our rig from the bottom. Then I put on a head that has the ability to be attached hooks. In a moment, we'll show you how to make such a setup, how to assemble everything so that it all works together. Personally, I use the head when Blake's Looktail, our next model, which we will show you in the next episode. It's not very effective, not very visible in the water. Here, as you can see, the hoochin has a flat design on the bottom, which casts a very large shadow. As you know, fish can see very well upwards against the background. The shadow is really very large, and it provokes the fish to strike. Now is the perfect time to fish for hoochin because it's already the end of November, and as you know, the fish are already very deep. They're not eager to rise to our lures, to chase those lures. Here at great depths, I use a hoochin in a purple-blue color. I specifically designed this color for fishing at great depths. This is a cosmic color. It's purple on the bottom, has a blue, glittery body, and features black fins. I don't know if you know, but at depths greater than 8 meters, the color purple is the most visible color. So I recommend checking out this color. Don't overlook dark colors at great depth. Gudgeon, this is a lure that we've been testing for almost 2 years. At the beginning, there were a lot of drawbacks, like the fins being too thin, which worked very nicely but didn't return to their original position. And because of that, there were more downsides than upsides. So we've managed to adjust the thickness of the fins, the thickness of the comb. The lure was slimmed down, lowered. It was also a bit too high here in the body. The side fins and the tail here, as you can see, are very much tapered, very delicate, so they work with the slightest, gentlest movement of the tip. Fins, they're going very nicely, up and down, as you can see, and with a slight movement, they keep shaking. So here, when it comes to working the lure, the less we move the rod, the better. Especially when we're fishing in rivers, we play as little as possible with the tip. We don't jerk the lure. Even if the fish is very close to the lure, we don't scare it away quickly. We just make a gentle lift with the rod to lift the fish just enough for it to speed up and strike. We're not running fast because this isn't a race, so I think you'll get a lot more takeoffs, like you won't be scaring them away too quickly. I personally fish for catfish. I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but I fish very close to the bottom, so sometimes it completely disappears from the transducer and I can't see it at all. When the catfish are really stuck in the ground, it's often the case that we don't even see the bite. There's just to take the rod, a very strong bite, and then you can rig it. Instead of just hooking the lure, turn it and stick it in the belly, because then it's very low above the bottom of the water. We have a small hook and the zander just jumps at it, and often they lift these soft baits, so it's better to switch from the top eye, hang it on the bottom eye and stick it in the belly. So give it a try. Now, in a moment I'll show you how to rig a lure, for example, by cutting off the head and screwing it onto a swivel, lead or fish head. By the way, you'll find descriptions in our catalog with recommended hooks, weights and loads. This hoochin works nicely from 50 grams. Very nice, it's stable. You can also go lighter. I even fish with a 28 gram tungsten jig, but that's in calm water and on windless days. So you'll find out everything on our website. Here, as you can see, we have a few things for proper rigging. This is a jig head shaped like a fish head, as I mentioned earlier. Regular head, round, spinning. A small hook along with a 0.50 braid. For rigging lures, gently so you don't stiffen them. I don't know if I mentioned it. A hook and the tungsten head, which we previously trimmed the hook. Maybe we should start by rigging the head with a fish-shaped head. We'll cut it. Natural one. We are trying on the head, which we're fitting it so that it comes together nicely. We mark it with our finger and we cut it, the head, for the rig. Next, we apply it. We're spinning. You need to hold it steady so that it aligns for us. Oh, and we have this way, the spun head. Next step, attaching the connector rings to the anchor along with the swivel. We're taking the connector ring and we attach it to the ring. A double swivel. And we attach it to the ring. Double swivel. You can do this with a ring tool. I am trained. With the stills, it's going much faster for me than with the ring tool. Now that we have the swivel, we can immediately attach it to our eyelets in the head. The first one. Oh, now to this swivel we attach the second connector ring along with the anchor. We have the anchor. We have our bait. We attach. Swivel, ring. And we're putting on the anchor. And in this manner we have the rig. It's a very safe rig because the swivel rarely breaks. So braided lines can often get frayed, chewed through by pike's teeth. So if we're rigging it short, it's nice to actually do it with a double or triple swivel, and we measure the distance. we're driving it in. I also do it this way, that I make a cut. And I'm attaching the anchor so that it just lays nicely here. We have rigged the rig. Now we will show you a regular head lead along with the screw. I use a shank. We apply and we screw in the shank. This way we have a pin attachment and a mounting underneath to our reinforcement if we want to use it. Fishing shallow, where the fish have a very small distance from the bottom, where there are those clicks, gentle knocks. Then we mount the treble hook on the belly. I already prepared the setup earlier, so I don't have to show it again. So we have, just like I showed before, a snap ring, a swivel, a snap ring and a hook. Here we have a single swivel because I want to rig it in the middle of the belly with a smaller hook. Now we have the hooks with pins. We can also use regular hooks by inserting one. Here we have a jig head formed when the fish come up and lift the bait from below, or when we're fishing in shallow water. There's often a big difference in the effectiveness of hook sets when mounting hooks on the belly. Now we have my ultralight rig here. I'm cutting the hook on a regular jig head, a tungsten one. I'm cutting the hook, bending the pin a bit so the rubber doesn't slide off, and then I'm inserting it into the bait. And I'm inserting it into the bait from this side here under the head. We can glue it, press it down and hold it. I won't bore you with this now. And then once we have the jig head inserted, we take a regular hook, a classic one, or the one with pins. Here I have a classic one ready to go. Let's tie it. Braided line 0.150, a no knot around the shank. And the short leader, this leader can be adjusted by wrapping it around the braid, adding or removing coils to regulate the distance of the hook from the front eye of our bait. So we can do this. Put on to establish and to insert hook. It's better to move that little hook away when we only have 2 points. This one point is inactive because it's in the bait, so I'm doing it loosely. This way I'm inserting it here, catching it in the eye of the snap. There shouldn't be any problem with the strength. I've had a few cases where the loop slips off, but even then it still hangs on the snap, so everything is fine here. Tungsten head, 28 grams thin line, and we can be fancy. On the so-called flauta, gently rinse the bottom, because tungsten doesn't deform like lead does. And then those predators are more eager to approach, to take a look at what's happening, and also to attack the bait. We already have it rigged up, and now let's see how it works in the water. Thank you for watching today's material. In the next episode, I'll tell you a few words about the next model, the Sterling Vertical Pelagic. This is the slug tail, not just for vertical fishing, but also for casting while live baiting. So I invite you,